this is around being liked. So this is work from Fisk, Cuddy, and Glick. So this is my essence here is that, you can't have influence unless people, can be bothered to meet with you or talk to you. So what you can see here as it builds is you can see up the x-axis, if you remember your maths from school, trust and liking, I like you, is higher, and I don't like you so much is the lower. And competence, I think you're good at your job on the right, and I think you're not so good on your job on your left. So the research, it might be argued that this is pretty common sense, but I'm just going to take you around here. So below the line, this is where I don't like you. If I think you're rubbish at your job, I'm quietly, contemptuous of you, but I don't put much energy into it. If, however, I think you're good at your job and I don't like you, I might be a bit more active than that. I mean, the German word Schadenfreude kicks in here, the joy of someone else's failure, might even be more active than that and become a saboteur. When I talk about this to groups that I'm in the same room in, I feel confident to say, hey, we could pick a politician, couldn't we? Don't name the politician. I don't want to see the name of that politician go in chat, but it could be a politician from around the world. It could be a politician from this country. But there are some people who don't like these politicians. And they may go out of their way to try and tweet bad things about them or to campaign against them, or they just might quietly not like them. But that's the bottom half of the line. The top half of the line is where you are liked. And on the right-hand side is where people admire you because they think you're good at the job. And again, you can think of perhaps some people at work, some managers that you previously had that you might think like that. And there's some others that you think, hey, do you know what? I like them, but they've dropped the ball. But these speech bubbles, and you'll see them in the slides later. So I don't care enough even to think about you. And I'm pleased when things go wrong for you. But the top half is much more interesting. So I am a fan of yours and will tell others, but this is the secret of being liked. If you fluff and drop the ball, you know what? I'm going to forgive you and be supportive of you. So it's really important to be liked. And therefore, I put in, one of my in blue indicators for today. I put in be north of this line. Well, that's really easy, Ian. But how am I going to be liked? So let's go back in time. Let's go back to this guy in 1930 something or other, 36, and he sold loads of books, and it was based on a training program he'd run. Perhaps you've heard of Dale Carnegie, perhaps you've read this book. I don't know, wave if you've heard of this person. Wave if you've read his book. I'm just going to look and see as to, it's not much waving. Okay, well, anyway, so this is what he said. Here are some things that he said you could do in order to be likable. He said you could be, show that you are genuinely interested in people, show and smile. This is 1930s. Is this good stuff? I don't know. So have a look. Remember that a person's name, this is so quaintly said, isn't it? Remember that a person's name to that person is the sweetest and most important sound in any language. So here's a question. Are you any good at remembering people's names? Or are you one of those people who say, I really can't do that? And I was like that until I decided to build the muscle and start using memory tricks to remember people's names. And I don't know if you've ever been in this situation when you've met someone, maybe at a networking event, if we still do those, or just somewhere at a party, or maybe just been introduced to someone at work. And do you know what? After about 10, 15 minutes conversation, they say, hey, Bernard, it was really nice to meet you. And you're like, wow, assuming your name is Bernard, you're going, wow, they really remembered my name and it means something. So that's what Dale Carnegie was saying. Be a good listener. I'll talk about that in a minute. And talk in terms of the other person's interest and make the person feel important, but do it sincerely. Don't be blowing smoke, but genuinely, if there's a good thing to say. Anyway, so that's what he said back then. But, is this you? Could you do this? If you go to dalecarnegie.com, you can find that he has a series of behaviors. There's about 30 behaviors. Their training course is mostly a memory technique course. It's because there's so many behaviors to remember. They put you through a whole load of memory stuff to remember them. But you can find these and download these. But the essence of the how is this, how to be liked. Everyone wants to be understood. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you were trying to get a word in edgeways in a meeting? You had the best idea in the world and you couldn't quite get it out. And then what happens? Oh my God, you can't say it. You're so frustrated. In the end, in any other business, you say, oh, can I just go back to agenda item 2? Have you ever done that? It just feels a bit weak. So we all know the other person, we all know we and all of us want to be understood. And so for this reason, that is an essence of being liked. The 2 ears, one mouth. The SUI is a special code. You can't tell that I can be quiet. You can't tell that I have listening skills, because that's not what I'm being set up to do today. But I write at the beginning of every meeting I go to, in my notebook, I write SUI, and it stands for shut up, Ian. And the idea is, it reminds me to talk less, because I know if I have the other people talking, I will learn something that I don't know. I already know everything I know. Of course I do. I know it. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know what I know, and I will learn more if I can shut up. So Stephen Covey, quoted him before from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, quite a good book, not a great read. 7 Habits of Highly Successful Teenagers is a better read, but if I was telling you as a senior person to read that, you might feel patronized. But honestly, I have told the most senior people to read that book, and it is a better book. Anyway, seek to understand before you seek to be understood. So what's the essence here? Always let the other person talk first if you want to have influence. What did I hear the other day? Selling isn't telling, it's listening. Okay, so what else have we got? Let's have, now we've got this. Communicate in the way that they want you to do. So in a second, this is a bit of a warning for Bernard. In a second, we can do some more breakout rooms. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to take a screenshot in a minute, or a photograph on your camera of the next slide. So the essence here is, we've decided that we're going to let people listen first, because that's a way to be liked. We've decided it's important to be liked, but at some point you're going to want to say your stuff. Now, of course, what we do know for sure is, I don't know, if you come home to your family and your kids are having a row, or your other half is unhappy or whatever, if you take the time to listen to them, they calm down. If you say, I haven't got time for you today because I'm really busy and I've had such a bad day, they don't calm down. So again, that's another piece of evidence that listening is really important. But once you've done your listening, and in the 7 habits language, it's this: think win-win, seek to understand before you seek to be understood, and then synergize. So listen to the other person first. But once they feel calm because they've had the oxygen of being listened to, they've got a word in edgeways. In fact, you've listened in Stephen Covey's terms so well that you can say back to them the things that they've said. Yeah, I really understand you, Bernard. What you said was A, B, and C. Now, if you get it wrong and Bernard says, no, I said D. Oh, okay, tell me again. Okay, A, B, and D. Now I really understand. Bernard feels, I'm picking on him because he's in charge of the rooms. Now I feel really understood. And so what do you think about this, they might say. So when we get to that stage, the essence of brilliant influence is communicate in the way they want you to. So I don't know, have you ever come, there's lots of versions of this, insights and colors and all sorts of stuff. Has anyone just wave again on camera if you've heard of any of this stuff before? Okay, and then, okay, the essence is this: to know your style, then to know their style, and then to adjust yours to theirs. So here we go. Here are the styles showing colors. This is slightly harder to see, but maybe. Let's have a little look. So I'm going to ask you to take a screenshot of this and also this. So this is on a bad day. This is how people come across. So everyone on this call will either have a predominant color. You might have more than one color, but you'll have a predominant color, which is either red or yellow or green or blue. Obviously, these are the easiest colors. So good day, bad day, take a screenshot. And what I'm going to ask Bernard to do, I'm going to ask you to put you in rooms and just to discuss this slide. 4 minutes, please, Bernard. Discuss this slide and see if you can work out what you are and listen to what the other people are as well.